my God. I want him to be aborted. Oh.
What are you looking at?
I'm looking at a young picture of Michael Myers, and I hate him. Why? I can just tell he's obnoxious. I feel like everyone's been in the room with someone who's like destined to be a comedian. Like truly, like every single thing they say is a bit. They don't stop. Like they're using you to like bounce material off of, but you're trying to have a conversation. It is excruciating. And I've been around two people like this, and I can see it in him.
But he is playing a character here. He's playing Wayne.
Okay, I'm completely biased by what you already said, but there's something in me that just feels him like, guys, film this. And there's like hours of footage of him getting it right.
I think character comedians, your Jim Carreys, probably have to be unbearable to actually be around in person.
And I didn't know that until I met a couple people, and I'm like, I get how this it has to be so big. The way like I saw Julia Roberts in person, and she was a skeleton with the giant mouth, and then on camera she's perfectly proportioned. It's just like everything has to be extreme in real life to like even register on TV. So like, yeah, that's how hard it is to entertain. You have to be extreme and unbearable just to be
and why people should think or care or feel however you're going to feel. But to me, it's like, I don't totally care what a person is like in their real life. I care about what I see on the screen. They're working for me. Do work for me. Entertain me, clown.
Right.
Tom Cruise, you're hiding Shelley Miscavige's body somewhere. I don't care. Make the Mission Impossible movies. Allegedly. So there's tons of great resources on Wayne's World, but I will primarily be using the 2019 article on The Ringer by Alan Siegel. Now, Alan Siegel has a Simpsons book coming out next month that I'm very excited to read. He's been making the interview circuit. Anyway, Michael John Myers was born in 1963 in Scarborough, Ontario. Scarborough is either a suburb of Toronto or a district within it. I can't totally understand or tell. Listeners up in T-Dot, let us know, because put this in American for us. Be like, it's like Brooklyn, like something like that. Okay, but on our early Austin Powers episode, we were kind of diagnosing Mike Myers and learning about his personality, and he has these parents who moved to Canada from England, from Liverpool, and he, like, as a personality is torn between his sort of suburban Canadian side and his English parents, especially his cool, like, mod groovy English dad who inspires Austin Powers. And then when he moves to America, he is now pulled by a third way, his American celebrity persona. But if Austin Powers represents the English id of Mike Myers, then Wayne is clearly the Canadian id. Sure. I remember reading in 2017 an article that made me realize that to Canadians watching Wayne's World, like they see it and see Americans don't realize this is all supposed to be Canada. They're saying this is Illinois, but this is obviously Canada. So I went and tracked it down and I found the article. The article is by Greg Hudson. It's in a Canadian magazine called Sharp Magazine. The title of the article is Gentle Reminder, Wayne's World was and will always be a totally Canadian thing. Quote, in the film, Wayne and Garth are from Aurora, Illinois, but that never felt right. As if, Wayne might say, are we really supposed to believe that even the most hockey understanding Americans ever played street hockey? Do they know to shout car and that donut shop? Tell me that's not a stand-in for a Tim Hortons. Wayne's always been from Scarborough. Like thousands of dreamers before and after him, he just hid his roots to make it big. Oh. End quote. Mike Myers was a child actor appearing in commercials and Canadian TV shows. He joined the Canadian touring company of Second City, trained as an improviser, went to the UK to join an improv group, went back to Toronto to join the main Second City show, started appearing on Canadian sketch TV shows where he debuted the character of Wayne Campbell. And then on the CBC show, It's Only Rock and Roll, he had a recurring segment called Wayne's Power Minute. We're going to watch one of Wayne's Power Minutes.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Wayne Campbell, and this is my Power Minute. All right. You know, a lot of people come up to me and they say, hey, Wayne, you're heavily metallic. How come you don't play an instrument? Well, of course I do. Air guitar. which leads me to a really interesting point. Okay, you got air guitars, right? Well, how come you don't have air drums or air synthesizers or air roadies or air managers or air record company executives or air rednecks in small towns who hassle you because they think, you know, you're hitting on their chick, say, right? Well, okay, what point? Well, my point is, air anything other than guitar is completely toolish. I mean, air violin? Yeah, right. I'm sorry, it's pale, it's bucket, it just doesn't work. So, the way I see it is, to err is human, to wail is divine. I'm Wayne Campbell, this is my Power Minute. All right.
So, what do we think?
It's fine. It's cable access.
Well, it's not cable. I mean, it's like a national show.
It's national. Yeah, I get it. He's adorable.
But he is both fully Wayne, you know, as we know him in the movie, but he is also seems like way more specifically
super Canadian.
You're supposed to watch him and be like, yeah, I know people like that. Whereas now it's like, what the fuck is this? Who is he parodying or who is he making fun of? I don't know. But it works. You like him.
Yeah.
It just needs a little something else to be funny, I think.
A little Garth.
So in 1989, Mike Myers joins Saturday Night Live and brings Wayne with him, where SNL pairs him with Dana Carvey to make a sketch out of his Wayne character. Now, Dana Carvey is 7 years older than Mike Myers, I believe.
Okay.
He had been on SNL for 2 years. He'd already become famous for The Church Lady and for George Bush. And he based the character of Garth on his brother, Brad.
Oh.
I think we've said this many times on the show, but you're an SNL person. I'm not.
Right.
And apologies to everyone.
It's okay.
For
we accept
being an SNLologist, for not knowing all this SNL lore that I'm sure you've like even giving the history of Wayne. It's like, well, you didn't mention he played him on this 1984 sketch show. And it's like, there's so much there. Anyway, to just kind of try to learn all of this in a few days.
I think you're giving the regular Joe a little capsule of what it is. What it is. Where did Wayne come from? I think you're doing just fine.
Thank you.
I don't think experts are spelunking our show and trying to make sure we're staying on script. Don't worry.
Maybe a Rob Lowe will discover our show though and bring us big time, and then
you mean exploit our show? What we need is a other guy in the back of a car. I can't think of his name. Mr. Big. Whatever his name.
Keep waiting for a Mr. Big. So the first Wayne's World sketch airs on February 18th, 1989. Cannot find it on YouTube. Went on the Internet Archive and all I could find was a script. But there's lots of Wayne's World sketches. It became very popular. There were 17 Wayne's World segments from 1989 through 1992. And then they did one in 93, one in 94, then one in 2011, and one in 2015.
Oh.
What's your question?
I'm sorry. Is Ed Harris Canadian?
No.
We can, because he's not Ed Harris. Al Bundy. Tell me his name.
Ed O'Neill.
Ed O'Neill.
Let's see. He would appear in Wayne's World sketches, and then.
Oh, okay.
No, he's American.
Okay, because I was going to say it's so interesting that the lowest they'll take a Canadian down is fucking Chicago, because Chicago is also where Married with Children takes place.
Oh, okay. It's the Canada of America.
Okay, I was just saying, like, because the accent still works. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah, like I have it. Yep, Dan. Don't I know it?
All right, well, how about a movie? Let's make it into a movie. Lorne Michaels had been trying and failing to move into movie production for a long time. Have you ever heard of a movie, Nothing Lasts Forever?
Not based off the title.
Okay, so this is a famously never released movie that he produced. It was produced for $3 million, co-stars Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd in like supporting roles. Zach Galligan from Gremlins is the lead. And this movie never got released. So that was his first production. His second production was Three Amigos, which he also wrote. And that was a relative disappointment.
I loved it.
And then 6 years would go by without him producing another movie.
I gotta think, and I feel like we talked about someone recently about this. That's just doing so well with the thing he's doing. Like, why even go through the bullshit of what it is to make a movie, and to just even feel that frustration of the fact that you can get so far into a project and it still does not get released? Doesn't seem like someone like Lorne Michaels would have the fucking time or gamble to do it over and over again if he didn't. Good thing he got it out of the garage on the second try.
Although it was the Three Amigos was a disappointment, a box office disappointment.
But at least all the work was seen by people.
At least it was seen. I don't know if nothing lasts for if he himself sat on that. He's the reason it didn't get released. It is very rare for a movie to just be finished and just never see the light of day.
Yeah.
Or at least was rare back then. Now the government likes it when you do that. They give you money to do that.
Tax haven.
Yep. A Wayne's World movie would be the first Lorne Michaels movie production in 6 years. Also the first movie based on an SNL sketch since the Blues Brothers in 1980.
Oh.
But he gets his production deal, and this begins a long stretch of him producing movies starring SNL alums, A Night at the Roxbury, Tommy Boy.
I remember
Superstar.
Tommy Boy. Tommy Boy is based on something that's an SNL sketch?
Starring an SNL.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember starting to get it. I wouldn't always be pumped that a skit was being made into a movie. It just didn't always. Anyway, they weren't a sure thing. Is my point. I can't think of any that I hated, but it took me a long time to appreciate Night at the Roxbury, and then once I did, I fucking loved it. I think Megan Shannon's was
Molly Shannon.
That's her mother, Megan. I remember liking that one right away. Who else also? God, there's probably a million of them. Mm-hmm. Wait, Corky Romano, was that one that was a sketch, or was that?
I don't think it was a sketch.
Is that one? No. Oh, and then the Dana Carvey, yes, the one we just talked about. There might be equal flops to actual good movies.
I think they're well known to be mostly
bad.
Yeah.
So it's probably the affection I have for them is because of my intense love of the actors and the characters and what they did on SNL.
So he approaches Mike Myers about doing a Wayne's World movie. Mike Myers, you will get to write the script, but we're also going to bring in some experienced screenwriters. The husband and wife writing team of Bonnie and Terry Turner joined the SNL writers' room in 1986. They would later go on to create Third Rock from the Sun and That 70s Show. The final screenplay for Wayne's World is credited to them and to Mike Myers. Now, who shall direct? Well, Penelope Spheeris is the director of Wayne's World. Lorne Michaels had known her for a long time. She was a documentarian working in Los Angeles, and he hired her to produce Albert Brooks's short films that he made for SNL. Mm-hmm. And she made this very famous documentary about the Los Angeles punk scene called The Decline of Western Civilization. And she says she thinks it was her connection to the music scene is why they thought of her to direct Wayne's World.
They needed Alice Cooper.
She made several narrative films after the documentaries. She made The Boys Next Door, co-starring Charlie Sheen and Maxwell Caulfield, aka Sexy Rexy.
Oh, yeah.
Now this movie, I'm just bringing this up because this movie was written by Glenn Morgan and James Wong, who wrote
crazy.
Final Destination.
What the fuck?
There are no coincidences.
Oh my God. We do really leapfrog, though. I feel like we always find a time. But you know what we're all finding out is that every single industry is this big. It's tiny. It's just Kevin Bacon.
But I love going through these weird 80s movies and being like, I've never heard of any of these movies, and then showing them to you and you're like, oh yeah.
No, I don't know this one. This one looks too sexy.
She directed Suburbia, Hollywood Vice Squad, and Dudes before getting the Wayne's World job. So she told The Ringer in 2019, quote, "People, especially young filmmakers, come to me and say, 'How did you do it? How did you do it?' I was 45 years old when I did Wayne's World. I had been virtually broke up until that time. And so I became a multimillionaire overnight. They gave me a righteous percentage of the box office. They didn't know it was going to be successful."
Right.
End quote.
Righteous.
Now, famously, she and Mike Myers clashed. She's one of the people you point to as like, Mike Myers seems really difficult to work with. Quote, this is from The Ringer. Quote, "Over the past nearly 3 decades, countless stories have circulated about the tension between Spheeris and Myers during the making of Wayne's World." And this is a quote from Spheeris. Quote how do you say that? Quote within quote. "I always say I had to shoot the movie a few different ways. I shot it Mike's way. I shot it Dana's way. I shot it my way.
Oh, God.
Sometimes I shot it the Bonnie, Terry, and Lorne way. But I knew that when I got into the editing room, I could put it together the way that I wanted. And that's what I did." End quote.
Shit.
Then in 2008, Entertainment Weekly did a profile on Mike Myers right before The Love Guru came out. It was like, Mike Myers is back, poised to have his biggest hit ever, The Love Guru.
Jesus Christ. Wrong.
But this article was like, however, lots of people in Hollywood don't like him. All right, quote, "Still, the fact is, within Hollywood, not everyone is cheering for Myers to succeed. Since early in his career, the actor has been tagged with a reputation for being difficult to work with, moody, controlling, and arrogant. That description could, of course, fit many actors and filmmakers, but the degree of enmity directed toward Myers by some who've worked with him, even years after the fact, is rare. Says one executive who has had a rocky relationship with Myers, I honestly root against him. Penelope Spheeris, who directed Myers in his first film, the 1992 smash Wayne's World, says she has shared word stories with others who have worked with the actor. And she said, maybe he could open like a children's hospital to clean up his rep. She jokes darkly. He's got to do something pretty quick. Directing her first studio film, Spheeris found herself struggling to prop up Myers' often dark moods. One day, infuriated that there was no margarine for his bagel, only butter, Myers, who, according to several sources, said he suffered from hypoglycemia, stormed off the set. Myers' rep denies he's hypoglycemic.
Okay. That's not really the thing to deny, Rep.
He was emotionally needy and got more difficult as the shoot went along, Spheeris said. You could have heard him bitching when I was trying to do that Bohemian Rhapsody scene. I can't move my neck like that. Why do we have to do this so many times? No one's going to laugh at that. To manage Myers' moods, Spheeris put her daughter in charge of making sure he had whatever snack he needed at any given moment. To this day, I have this image of her sitting on this little cooler looking at me like, Mom, I fucking hate you. End quote.
That's interesting because he's difficult in a way that I didn't expect you to say. Like, he just sounds like a child. Like a very opinionated child, and I mean, low blood sugar is a thing. I mean, if he was hyperglycemic, it really does change.
But his reps denied that he's hyperglycemic.
Wait, because he's not a pussy. So I went to get my teeth cleaned today, and they take x-rays as well. And I don't remember this happening in the past at dentists, but they also take my blood pressure. I don't know if anyway. So she's taking it. It's something that does it on its own. So she's turned around and she's looking at the computer, and she just goes, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Why?" And she's like, "Your blood pressure is low." And I'm like, "Okay, I'm okay." And she's like, "Let's just do this arm." And it goes up like 10, and she's like, I mean, okay. And she's like, "Are you going to faint?" And I'm like, What are you saying to me? So anyway, all day I'm like, am I okay? Anyway, I'm just saying low blood pressure, low blood sugar, it affects you.
Are you okay?
I don't know.
What's going on with you?
I don't know. It's like, it's 30 points under normal. And I don't know. I don't really, like 120 over 80 is perfect. And I was 73 over something else.
Are you going to die?
Maybe.
What do we do about that?
Well, she's like the good news is low blood pressure is not really something you have to worry about unless you completely lose it. High blood pressure can hurt your heart. Low blood pressure just means you might be a little faint or dizzy or whatever, but you could like drink some coffee. Like you can affect your pressure with lots of. It's sensitive, but I mean I did exactly everything I always do every morning. That should
maybe you always have that. Maybe this also explains why you're often like, I don't know, I just have the dizziness.
Well, she's like,
just feeling fine.
She said, "Are you dizzy?" And I'm like, "No more than usual." She went, "Oh." But like,
no, your normal self. We went to the music studio yesterday to record our summer miniseries song, and you're like, "These headphones are getting me dizzy.
They do.
I'm gonna faint." Yeah, maybe there's a reason for all of this, and it's just you got to take a pill.
Matt, I get my blood pressure taken at every single medical thing I ever go to, and recently I've done a lot of different appointments. I've never had this has never happened.
They're all quacks.
Okay, maybe your machine was faulty.
Maybe she was stepping on it. Yeah.
No, it's battery operators, no wires.
Maybe the AI was stepping on it. All right, so production was difficult.
He needed a snack. That's all my point.
It was hectic. But the difficulties I've always heard about him is like he is just so opinionated and so specific.
Okay.
So, more quotes from The Ringer. Quote, Myers, meanwhile, seemingly had an opinion on every choice made on the film. Wayne's World was his baby. Spheeris remembers arguing with him and the Turners about which Southern California home to use for exterior shots of Wayne's parents' place. You know how in the beginning he goes, "Hi, I'm Wayne," and he walks out and gets in the basement, right?
Yeah.
Spheeris says. If you look at the house, it looks like every fucking house in the valley. Even so, Spheeris and Myers checked out about 50 houses before picking one.
Oh my God.
Myers and Carvey spent the hectic shoot, which lasted only 34 days, attempting both to work together and to one-up each other.
Oh.
It's not like they butted heads or argued a lot or anything, Spheeris says, but I'll tell you what they did, and Lorne teaches all his people to do this. and that is compete with each other. Lauren loves, I don't care if you quote me, I'm getting too old for this shit, to have people argue and try and please him and compete with each other to the point where someone's in tears.
That's fucking toxic as hell.
Michaels did not respond to requests for comment. If Myers pitched something new...
No wonder he ended up being Dr. Evil in the movie. I mean, that's got to be some sort of message, right? That's horrible. People fight for their whole careers to get on something like SNL, and then you get there and you realize you're only as good as your last fucking sketch, and you can't even make friends because you're all pitted against each other. That really fucking bums me out.
That's also just classic megalomaniacal behavior from every CEO and politician. That they're like, no, that's my management style.
I know that. It's just, I know how hard people fight to, that's their mecca. That's the thing. That's like the thing at the top of the mountain. And to get there and realize it's horrible, it just breaks my heart.
To get into the Biden White House, and now I find he doesn't even remember my name, and he sleeps 19 hours a day.
And he's dead.
He has no blood pressure.
I know.
Anyway, going on with the quote, if Myers pitched something new, then Carvey would too. For example, when the latter suggested installing a licorice dispenser in the ceiling of the car. End quote. So yeah, Myers and Carvey, they were not particularly close friends, and Mike Myers was clearly the dominant creative force in this movie. It was an enormous hit, $183 million on a $20 million budget. Again, like a much bigger hit than Austin Powers.
Wow.
And this is, at the box office. So it only became bigger on home video. And a sequel was immediately greenlit. Now, this is exactly like Sister Act, where in 1992, a huge smash leads to a hasty sequel 20 months later in 1993. Same years for both sets of movies. How? There are no coincidences, as I said. But Penelope Spheeris was not brought back for the sequel, and she says she knows it's because Mike Myers did not want her back, and that there was a moment, and it was when the studio didn't have big expectations for the movie, but they started doing screenings, test screenings, and the audiences were like, it was like the best reactions ever. People were like, this is the fucking best. This is hilarious. So at this moment, they start getting excited about the movie, and Mike Myers sends Penelope pages and pages of notes of cuts he wants to make, and she says, I'm not making them. The movie's great as it is, and she said she knew when she did that she wasn't going to be invited back for the sequel, but she said fuck
she was right.
Yeah.
Do you know if Cassandra's in Wayne's World 2? Okay.
She is. I started watching Wayne's World 2. I think I've seen Wayne's World 2 more than Wayne's World because I kept waiting for things that happened in Wayne's World 2 to happen in Wayne's World 1. But I started watching Wayne's World 2 last night and saw her name in the credits, third build.
Was it good?
I only watched 15 minutes.
Well, are they good?
It was not that good.
I didn't think so.
Yeah.
Probably too heavy in narrative.
Came out less than 2 years later, made half as much money.
Yeah, still money.
And so that's the history of Wayne's World.
Okay.
Now
party on. Wee, wee, wee.